Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today we have Colin Pape from Presearch joining us, and he is going to tell us all about a decentralized platform for a search engine. And you guys know, when we go looking at Google, what we're fed, and I mean force fed, and how distracting that is and how frustrating that is. And so this is a really cool option. My friend Rice turned me on to this. And so I wanted to bring it to the community and get your feedback. So you guys let us know what you think about it in the comments below. And I'll be sure to put links in the description so you can check out Presearch and have more information about it. So we'll be right back after this. Hi, Colin. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining me. My friend Rice introduced us, and I was really glad to hear. I watched some of your interview with him and really liked what you guys are doing at Presearch, and asked if you could come talk to my community about what you're doing at Presearch, kind of how it got started, and how they can maybe participate and be part of the decentralized freedom movement that you guys are doing, the good work that you're doing over there.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity and great to connect with you. And gotta love Rice. That guy's pretty awesome dude.
Pretty
Yeah,
great guy.
he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, he helps us with our weekly updates. We do a video every Friday together, and he runs it. And he's just an awesome guy. Real.
And that's on the Presearch YouTube channel, correct?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So you guys can check that out as well. I'll put a link in the description for that too. So that's something else they can check out. And that's every week on Friday. So I think that's Friday mornings, correct? Was it Friday mornings? Oh no, did we freeze? Oh no. Let's see if we can get him back here. Might be, should be all good.
Hello.
Okay, I hear you. Sorry.
No worries.
I am recording this, so I can edit some of it if I need to, hopefully. Let me just make sure my son is not gaming right now. The joys of living in a world, technical world.
Yeah. Bandwidth is the new oil.
Yeah. Uncle Cliff talked about, do you follow Cliff High?
Cliff High, yeah.
Cliff High, yes. Okay. So Uncle Cliff talked about how attention will be like the new, our new money or new economy. And I guess that really applies to what you guys are doing as well. I mean, that's kind of the energy of your search engine, right? Or how people can participate by being part of the decentralized community by running a node. Or can you kind of explain, I guess, give us a big overview of what Presearch is and how it got started, and then we'll kind of talk about the different ways that people can participate and be in part of the community.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so definitely think that that's a relevant comment. I mean, most people know that Google is, kind of the biggest company online, and that they control really, the vast majority of people's searches, and so 92% of all search results come from Google, and they actually have the number 2 search engine as well, which a lot of people don't think about, which is YouTube. And so really between them, they have the ability to steer us in all these different directions, and kind of control narratives, and really shift people's focus to different resources that they, through their algorithm plus any other means, find valuable. And so the project kind of the seed was planted in 2011. Actually, I have another company called ShopCity.com, and we ran into just this weird experience. Ultimately, Google assessed a manual penalty, and put all of our sites or most of the sites onto page 8 of Google, even if you were searching for them by name. And they were sites that were run with like city governments and chambers of commerce and local authority figures. And we were able, through connecting with a lawyer, to put some pressure on Google through the media and kind of got our issue resolved. But it made me realize just how much influence and how much power they have, and that if you don't exist in Google, you kind of don't exist on the internet.
Right.
And so started thinking about, how could we create an alternative to Google? I mean, their results generally are very good, and they've got a huge moat around that platform, and very tough to displace them. So started thinking about ways where you could kind of get in between the user, the person who's doing the search, and that search experience. And so came up with kind of this way where you could have almost like a federated search field where you could direct your query into a bunch of different engines. So you could choose, if you were doing a general web search, maybe it was Google, or if it was something specialized like a domain name lookup, or if you were searching for, customers within your CRM system, you could direct your query there. And built a prototype in like 2013, 2014, and had really good feedback, but didn't really see like a great go-to-market strategy. And then in 2017, got introduced to Ethereum, realized that we could create a cryptocurrency that we could use to reward people to search through Presearch. So kind of an incentive to take that extra step and search through Presearch. And that we could close the ecosystem for the token and create value for the token by making it the payment mechanism for an advertising platform. And
Oh,
so
okay.
the project was born. We ended up crowdfunding it. We don't have any venture capitalists or kind of the establishment types involved in the platform at all. It's all user driven. And the vision ultimately is to create a decentralized search engine that's driven by the community, open source, transparent, that helps to overcome some of those biases that I think we've all seen, particularly over the past 5 or so years,
Mhm.
uh, as big tech has been, steering people in this, certain direction and manipulating along with the media a lot of the messaging that is out there. And so, yeah, hoping that Presearch can be one of the core platforms that people can utilize to find different information and something that is not driven by those agendas behind the scene.
Well, I mean, it's great to hear of another opportunity. I know, even, we were, a lot of us were looking at, um, using Brave browser and DuckDuckGo and things like that. And even those were bumping into some issues, um, with point of centralization. And there is this whole big conversation about, can anything really be truly central or decentralized if there's, um, uh, value or money being exchanged, because then there's a point of attack with that money or value being exchanged. And so, do you guys have a solution for that, or how do you see that problem being solved?
Yeah, I mean, there's technical decentralization, which is in and of itself a challenge, and I mean, even when you get down to it, I mean, the domain name system is kind of the ultimate point of
Okay.
centralization, and until we have decentralized domain names, which are becoming more and more widespread, there will be different opportunities. There's always kind of those different points of failure and attack vectors. But as far as Presearch goes, we focus more on like the utility of the token and
Okay.
giving it value, being that payment mechanism for the advertising platform. Google generates over 100 billion a year in revenue through their kind of simple keyword ad platform, and so there is a ton of economic value there. And that is ultimately kind of what is, underlying or backing the Presearch currency. It's that ability for it to be utilized for traffic. And so, we're currently running on Ethereum. Ultimately, we are looking at building out our own blockchain, which would happen, a little bit down the track. But later this year, we've got some plans to start really building that in earnest. And yeah, I mean, as far as how do you protect that value, to me, it's more about minimizing kind of the touch points to the legacy system. So trying to have as few connections to, ultimately the legacy financial system, the big tech ecosystem. With Presearch, we're kind of in an interesting spot in that we're kind of bridging like Web 2 and Web 3. So it's not, really possible with a search engine to be completely divorced from the legacy web, because that's ultimately kind of the content that we
Right,
are
where the content is. Yeah.
that right. And so, but we've got ways, and we've just released our mainnet of the Presearch node platform to basically distribute out the computing requirements and those resources that are used by the projects. So rather than have everything in a big tech data center, Presearch is now being powered by 65,000 user nodes that are all over the world. And so it's kind of just creating a wider footprint, making it harder to stop. And over time, ultimately, all the different aspects of the ecosystem we think can be set up in that same way, where it's being run on a whole number of different user nodes and secured by a consensus algorithm and mechanism that is open source, that can't be tampered with, and where we can basically all see as searchers that that kind of chain of data transfer is happening in a way where nobody's kind of in the middle of it. They're not intercepting it. And it's ultimately becoming over time more of like a peer-to-peer type ecosystem. So it is certainly a long-term project. We're in still kind of the early phases, but main thing to me has been setting the culture and really pushing towards a culture of freedom and people who respect freedom and liberty and are willing to change for it and fight for it. And I think that having that kind of culture within the core token holders and the core team and a lot of the community members is what sets us up to withstand some of those different attacks and not go down the same path that all these other, I mean, like ultimately Brave and DuckDuckGo, they're both, financed by venture capitalists. They're very
Right.
much like traditional companies. Presearch is much more of a community-driven, ground-up, grassroots project, and that I think is ultimately what will secure the platform.
That is a real challenge. I mean, you build this beautiful thing, it's your baby, but you love it enough to set it free
Yep.
because in a decentralized world, I mean, if it truly is, then you have to say this is the communities and the community is going to make those choices. And so, um, how do you feel about that? How do you kind of handle that? Like when something comes up for governance choice or an issue, do you see that kind of leaving your hands, or do you feel like that vision has been set strong enough that it's going in the pathway, or have you put the things in place to keep it from going into that, falling into that venture capitalist, going back into the Google? Because I heard on your interview with Rice, you said, even the guys at Google, that Brian guy or whatever, he like had, they used to go to Burning Man and they used to be like these freedom minded kind of people. And they ended up turning into, who they are.
Who they are,
Um,
yeah.
we'll
It's
leave
it,
it at that.
that's right. I mean, yeah, it's I think challenging. I mean, if and I talked a little bit about it with in the interview with Rice, but Back then you needed like tens of millions, hundreds of millions in order to have the infrastructure to build a search engine and do a lot of these
Mm,
different big tech projects. And so, how would you possibly get that? Well, the only people that are offering that kind of money are venture capitalists. And as soon as you're in bed with them, they have obligations to their investors, their limited partners. And, they need to basically come up with an exit strategy. How are we going to get our money out of Google? And so, Google, I think, tried to do, probably the better thing out of their options for an exit strategy. They at one point tried to sell to Google or to Yahoo for like a couple $1 million, which is
mhm,
hilarious, and that didn't work. So they ended up, doing the VC thing, and then they ended up, going public, and they tried to do, a Dutch auction, which is kind of like, one of the more egalitarian ways of kind of distributing shares, but still ultimately, they're in bed with Wall Street, and they're beholden to Wall Street, and kind of
mm,
Wall Street objectives, the profit motives, and also, the regulatory integration is ultimately what will pull them in the direction that they were pulled. Plus, whatever other stuff. I mean, people. It looks like they were funded by the venture arm of the CIA as well. So
mhm.
I mean, there's all these different kind of pulls that they had, but
Yeah.
ultimately it was driven by the need for capital, and driven by that significant need for infrastructure. Whereas, as Presearch has launched, we were able to crowdfund it. There's no investors, there's no VCs, there's no everybody is using the same unit of value, which is the pre token. Uh,
Okay.
we kind of like put our stake in the ground, and said, hey, we want to be an alternative to Google. We don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but we believe
Uh-huh.
that when we start, that the right people are going to come into the project, and they have been. Almost all of our core team members are people who were project members who just were in the community contributing, shared values, loved the vision for Presearch, and they just kind of like bubbled up, and we ended up then elevating them into different areas of responsibility. And the community is something that we've maintained a really close connection to, because we again planted that flag and said, hey, we're a community driven search engine. Well, you need to be pretty connected to your community when you keep
Right.
saying that. And so, we're very active in Telegram and in Discord, and just, listening to the community, and again, trying to, with the messaging and like the videos that I've been doing, and things like attracting into the project the people who care about freedom, the people who want an alternative to big tech, the people who don't want censorship, people who are kind of, pro the same things that, you and Rice and many of the other people that have covered Presearch, believe and represent. And so I think ultimately, the culture is pretty strong. It might take, a little bit more time. We've got most of our foundational elements now in place to kind of do that handover. But as
Mhm.
far as like me personally, yeah, honestly, I'm a pretty reluctant leader. Like I really don't.
Oh.
I mean, I sure, I obviously bring something to the table, but the way that I look at it, I mean, our CTO Trey, our community members, our developers, the supporters, the people that have brought all the users into Presearch, those are really the people, and it's not any one person, and they're the ones who are helping make this what it is. And honestly, I've got a son. He's still young enough. Like I would love to, be able to. Hey, community is at a point where and I can go. A guy that I know, he wrote a book called Middle Retirement, and he basically, worked his butt off when he was young, and then he did like a retirement from like the age of, I don't know, 45 to, or 40 to 48, something like that, and then went back to work,
Oh,
and
wow.
got to spend those kind of like key years with his kids when they were growing up. And
Mhm.
um, honestly, to me, the only way this is going to really reach its potential and achieve the vision is to be community directed, and not have a person like me who's in charge of it, and potentially just like with Bitcoin and others, it does become an attack vector, and
Right.
so not having any one person controlling it, I think is a
Is
strength.
really the
Yeah,
strongest point.
it is.
Yeah. And the community piece. So that was another thing that I really like about it. We look for here at the new normal, we look for ways to give the community, especially in this time right now, it feels really frustrating. And people want to be able to take action and be able to speak up for their freedom. And this is a way that you can take action. Like you can choose to use Presearch um, instead of Google.
Yep.
And so you can go to presearch.com. There are different ways that you can be involved in the community. You can advertise on Presearch. You can run a node on Presearch. You can also search on Presearch, right? So there's all these different ways that you can be a part of. Can you kind of talk to us about, I know you were talking about how easy it is to run a node on Presearch on Rice's channel, and I thought that was something that, and talk about the benefits of that, because we also talk about alternative streams of income, and I didn't know if there was income involved with that on that one.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the great things about search is it's something that people do frequently enough that they can develop different habits. Some things they're really hard to break because like you do it so infrequently that you can never like kind of train yourself away from that one, kind of default mode. And with Presearch, you can go to presearch.com/extensions, and you can install a browser extension. So it'll set your Brave browser or Chrome or Firefox or whatever, so that Presearch is the default search engine. And then whenever you search, it's just automatically taking you into Presearch. There's mobile apps for Android and iOS that you can install that are private browsers, very similar to Brave, that you can utilize to access the web and search. And so because it's that thing that you can take action with, like you said, and it's something that most people do frequently enough, and because there's enough of these tools that you can kind of build these new habits. I mean, we're switching over lots of people. There's 3.8 million registered users.
That's great.
It's got already kind of a fairly large community, and it's one of the most used projects within the crypto space by traffic. It's the number one traffic driver to CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. So it's
Wow.
being pretty well used because it is easy. And yeah, the thing kind of around this whole model and ultimately like the economic value of search is tremendous. And we could have people who are running freedom-oriented businesses and competitors to big tech and all these different things, advertising and marketing through the platform and reaching the user base, and then ultimately kind of building a bit of a parallel ecosystem and a parallel economy. I think is what's going to be required in order to preserve our freedom and kind of be able to live outside of these systems of control that are increasingly going in kind of the China social credit system direction,
Right.
which I think is what we both don't want.
No, definitely.
And so as you're searching through Presearch, if you want, you can create an account. When you do that, when you search, you get rewarded with Presearch tokens. So it's shifting
Oh,
some
wow.
of the value from the ecosystem back to the person who's putting it in by giving it their attention and using it. And then there's ways everybody basically has a referral link. So if they're sharing it with people, they can use their link, and then whoever comes in through their link gets a bonus of 25 pre-tokens. So it's kind of a way that is a win-win for people to share the platform. And then when you have tokens, which you've either earned or you can buy them as well, either through marketplaces like KuCoin or Uniswap, or you can buy it directly through. There's a Presearch marketplace that you can find on the website. When you have those tokens, then you can basically use them for advertising. And so we have a system called keyword staking. And so you basically choose whatever keyword you want your ad to show up under. and then whoever stakes the most tokens to that keyword has their ad displayed as long as they are the biggest staker. And so
Wow.
there's kind of no cost really to the clicks right now. You get the clicks for free, and you
Hmm.
can cancel your stake at any time, and you can sell your pre-tokens or put them onto a different term if you like. But then the other thing that you mentioned was the nodes. And
Hmm.
so we are, now powering the computing requirements for the project by these user nodes. And so you can install basically a piece of software on your computer or on a server, and then you join the network, and basically it tells the system, hey, I've got some computing power here. And then on the platform end, when a query comes in, it says, oh, which node is available? And then we basically send that anonymized query out to the node, and then the node goes and grabs all the information and then builds the results page. And then if they do it successfully, then they get a reward in the form of a pre-token. So it is an earning opportunity, and it's kind of a way where you can more actively help the project at the same time.
That is great. At that, I mean, just being able, it seems like a really healthy ecosystem, like you said. I mean, with the opportunity to earn by searching, to run a node, so passively earning, and then also pouring into the community by spending your, by advertising, and with it being so crypto focused. I mean, that could be really a positive environment for a lot of new projects to pour into if they're targeting crypto people, like you said, that there's the number two search for, did you say, for CoinGecko and um,
Yeah, but Coin Market Cap. If you look at, like,
CoinMarket?
there's
Yeah.
a website called SimilarWeb where you can see kind of all the different traffic for different websites and things. And yeah, the number one external traffic driver to both Coin Market Cap and CoinGecko is Presearch. So
Yeah. So
it's
you
used, yeah,
can really get your company in front of people that are specifically in those crypto areas. That's really cool.
that's right.
Well, I'm going to sign up before I post this video. So you guys will be able to sign up with my referral link so
Awesome.
that you'll get those extra tokens.
Yes.
So we'll all win together, because that's what we want to do in this community, is support each other. And Colin, thank you so much for coming on here and giving us an opportunity in a way to fight big tech and fight for freedom. I love it. This is
Abs-
great.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And thanks for the opportunity. And yeah, great to meet you.
Yeah. So we're joining the fight together. You guys join presearch.com with us, and we'll see you on the other side. Take care.